Hello, my name is Jamie Sua. I am one of the students of Miss Pamela Wilson, and today I want to let you know what is the important the technology in our English class. Uh, I am I'm going to tell you what is my favorite application in Google application. Of all the applications that Google has, my favorite application is Google Classroom because there I find everything about my English class. For example, in To Do, I can check every new and old announcement that my teacher makes, like important grammar explanation, videos that help me to improve my listening and my vocabulary. I have access to all topics covered in class. Using a topic filter, it is easier to find some specific topic. The perfect link to me is the ESOL student dashboard. It is very helpful, interactive, nice, and attractive to me. I can find all the information about myself and many tools that give me a general view and everything in only one place. That is my favorite application. And thank you, teacher, for every day teach me everything about technology and how to use every Google application. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Juicy. I just finished the Business Management and Administration course at Palm Beach Central, and I wanted to share a bit about it. Honestly, it was a game changer. We spent a lot of time in the Google ecosystem, getting comfortable with the dashboard and jumping into our classes through Google Meets, which made everything so easy to follow. One of the coolest part for me was mastering Google Sheets. I actually learned how to take a bunch of raw data and turn it into clear, professional charts. Also,
Thank you. I appreciate that. Sorry, online folks. Here we go. Thank you. Thank you. So yes, I hope you saw the signal online. My friend here, what's your name again? Jeff is going to be looking out for the signal for me, okay, Jeff? So that I can know online is going, that's just a little bit much, take it down. So they've been around since 1998, pretty young, but now they're pretty much dominate, right? Now, I didn't want to go much further without sharing that in my classroom, I'm very explicit about the level of thinking that takes place. So I introduce my students explicitly to Bloom's because I want them to be aware of the level of thinking that actually happens versus what we should be aiming for. It's one thing to just remember something, but in the classroom, what I want you to do is move up from remembering to being able to show that you understand stuff and to be able to apply and analyze, et cetera, because I know you're all familiar with Bloom's taxonomy. In the ESOL class, our students may not be. So I'm very explicit with this so that sometimes when we're doing stuff, they'll say, teacher, we're on the third floor, because I tell them to think of this as a building with 6 floors. So they get excited. We're on the third floor today, teacher. Or we're just on the 1 floor with recall. All right? So now that I've gotten those 2 things out of the way, how many of these do you know? How many of these do you know? Who wants to take a shot? Go ahead. Okay. Okay, once you get something wrong, it has to be somebody else's turn. All right, next. Which number? Number 2? No, somebody else? You raised your hand? No? You change your mind? Anybody else? Anybody else? So this is classroom. Number 2, docs. Sorry. Number 3, sheets. Number 4, meet. Number 5, sites. That's right. Number 6, slides. Number 7, forms. There's the forms that you were saying. Number 8, mail. All right. Number 9, photos. Number 10, Chrome. Number 11, calendar. The number's a giveaway, isn't it? Number 12, maps. 13, translate. That's it. 14, yes. Earth. Exactly. Google Earth. 16, chat can work. Messages can work. Yeah. 17, home. 18, just Google. Google, right? And there's more. There are more. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Every time they're coming up with more. And of course, we don't want to forget Gemini and Google Pay, right? That's Google Pay. All right. So good job, everybody. Y'all are very familiar with this. Is there anybody that saw something that they were not familiar with? Is there anything that's not up here that you want to say, hey, you forgot this one? Drawings, okay? Anything else? Because there's some new ones that just came out that are amazing. And we're going to check them out today because I'm hoping to go live. Okay, one more student. I forgot about her. One more student testimonial, then we go on. I'm going to cut this short.
Hi, I am Homa. I'm from Iran and I have been about 15 months in my new country, USA. I am Mrs. Pamela Wilson's student in ESOL class. She's the best teacher in my life. The first, when I began learning English, I was very worried, but teacher pushed me and she gave me self-confidence with her style teaching. Miss Wilson taught me the English language skills and she taught me about Google programs. It's very important and useful for me. I think this is helpful for new immigrants because it increases their ability and soft skills and hard skills too. She teach how we can make a Google form and how to make a website and how we can use the Jamboard and how we can make group project and share our experience from the PowerPoint to the other people.
Okay, I'm gonna pause that. Now, her story is especially dear to my heart because she's from Iran, and when she learned Google Forms, her husband was still in the country. She contacted her husband and taught her husband Google Forms. Now, he worked in the university and he was looking for a way to collect information from a student. And he ended up using the Google form to collect information and analyze information for his student. I was very proud of her. I'm proud of the fact that that was so helpful for someone outside of the country, right? So you never know the impact that you're making when you're exposing your learners to this technology. Gosh, I'm sorry, I forgot. I can't move. All right, so how do we get started? Everybody knows the name of that, our good friend, 9 dots button, the waffle, and the official name, Google App Selector or the App Selector. There are other ways for you to find your Google applications, but this is the way that you do it when you're doing it from within the platform. Now, let me go back a little bit to say that Google is free. Google Workspace is typically for organizations, but the things that I'm about to show you, for those of you who have never tried it, you can actually open up a free Google account and have access to most of this stuff. All right, it may be limited, like if you have Google Meet, you're limited to a certain number of people or however long the meeting can be. But if you have a simple basic Google account, you're able to go to the 9 dots button and access these applications that you can play around with on a personal level if you're not doing it within your administration. All right? So when I'm teaching this to my students, I don't just go, okay, go to this. I start out very small by teaching them the key vocabulary. So you can see that at the bottom of the screen. I go through meticulously, starting with the 9 dots button and the name, and I teach them all this vocabulary, all the nouns that are associated with it. Because my next move when I introduce them to this is to say, how do I find? And then to pretend to be the learner so that they can now teach me to prove that they understood how to access. Because it's pointless to learn something if you can't go back and use it and access it, and play around with it. So that's where that's how we get into our Google applications. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is Google Classroom, because as you can tell, it's one of my students' favorite applications. And now, why is that so? Before I go into our actual Google Classroom, I just want to say we've been using, I found Google Classroom, a colleague of mine found it on my team because the mission was go out and find somewhere where we can post work. We can't do Canvas. We don't have those other LMS. Let's find something that's okay within our district to use with our students. So we started using Google Classroom back in 2015 with no knowledge that 2020 was coming, where we would have to pivot and go online. So thankfully, we had this in place so that when COVID hit and we all had to transition online, we already had this ready to go. So we use this as PLCs for our instructors and our communication tools for our administrative staff, but we also use it for our classrooms, all right? And I'm gonna dive into the actual classroom in a minute, but that's just an example of the different types of Google Classroom that we establish on our platform. Then there's Google Sites. And We've created Google Sites for everything. Our Google Sites we've created to support our teachers with a teacher platform where they can go on and find teacher resources. We've created a Google site for our learners called I Learn, where the learners get to go on and find resources and get information. And then we also do projects inside the classroom, like the student mentioned, using Google Sites so that they can develop those skills. Here's the deal. When my students get to my classroom, I tell them, as someone that interviews people for jobs, one of my questions is always, how are you with technology? How are you with technology? How are you with this type of things? And I tell them, if you're coming into my class with zero knowledge, you're leaving with some knowledge, so that if you have that question on a job interview, you should at least be able to say, I am familiar with Google applications. I know how to do Google Docs. I know how to do Google Sheets. So that's my entire goal. And they know that I am a paperless classroom. I don't print, I'm a paperless presenter, period, too. So that's a culture that I established. So typically the students that are coming up from the lower levels know that when they get to my class, that's going to be the culture, because I want them to be that comfortable with using digital literacy. So yes, we end up creating Google Sites and all of that. And these are just a sampling of some of the Google Sites that have been created, whether it's they go away and they do it for personal use or whatever, but they're taught how to do this. I mentioned that we have a website for our teachers. It's called I Teach English. That's something that we created as well to get information out to our teachers by site. So on that website, you can see all of our school sites have a little button that shows their name. When the school sites click on that button, it takes them into a Google Drive with all of their assessment data. That shows them where their students are and what's the next test that their student is going to be taking, all on a Google Sheet in a Google Drive. Okay, so we use it extensively. And then, of course, there's Google Meet. Question? Oh, I know, right? So like I said, back in 2020, we had to pivot. So we had Google Classroom, and back then we had Google Hangouts until they changed it to Google Meet, right? So this is something, again, as you can see by the symbol up top, that was created using Google, what's the symbol? Slides, yeah. This was created using Google Slides, and it's just a matter of insert image, insert background, change background, insert image. If you enjoy doing this kind of stuff, it's so much fun, right? Yes. Yes. Recorded? Yes, I'm going to get to that. See, I was hoping somebody would tell me I'm missing the symbol on the chart earlier on. So thank you for asking. So this is a Google slide. I just wanted to have some fun with this. And also, my learners were having problems on the Google Meet going into breakout rooms. How many of you had that problem? And then when they went into breakout rooms, as the teacher, it would be so noisy. It was very noisy back then, right? So everything that you see here that I'm showing you is a solution to a situation. Everything's a solution to a situation. So what I did was I created that, but I wanted to be teachable. So I added all five of the what? What are those 5 things? The continents. I'm totally in teacher mode. Can you tell? So it's the 5 continents. So not only did I create an access point to our own breakout rooms, I just went ahead and named it continents. And I gave them the autonomy to say, okay, where do you want to go today? Which continent do you want to visit? And so they would go, and then I would be like, where are you? I'm in America. Where are you? I'm in Europe. So we have fun with it. But the point is, instead of doing the breakout rooms, this was the alternative so that the students could go in and get complete privacy in each of these rooms and then come back into our main room when they're done, and then I would be able to go into each of these rooms without too much noise. So this is Google Slides with a lot of insert images and Google Meet. And the QR code and the door, it's clickable from the button, it's clickable from the QR code, and it's also clickable from the doors so that they don't have any trouble. They're practicing their clicks. Okay? All right, talking about Google Meet. This is just to give you an example of how important it is, this application is. About 6 of my students, we went to the Florida Literacy Conference. Some of them were called to read their stories, read their essays, and some of them just wanted to come. So we went to the Florida Literacy Conference. I don't like to not teach my class when I go anywhere, so I'm always teaching. They jump on a Google Meet and I'm teaching the class, okay? But the beautiful thing about this is I had one student that was in Daytona with me during the conference, read her essay right there, took her picture. Then you can see her in her car driving home from the conference. In the Google Meet, in her car, driving home from the conference. When she got home, she was like, give me a minute, teacher, 1 minute, teacher. And then she ran inside and got on the Google Meet to still be in class. That is how powerful these applications are in terms of providing alternate access for our learners. When a lot of the struggle sometimes is retaining our learners, right? So this entire night, she drove all the way home and got back in. So some of us were in Daytona on the Google Meet, and then you're gonna see here that some of them were in the classroom on the Google Meet, so that we didn't miss a beat with class, right? Isn't that awesome to be able to do that with an application? I know they have Zoom and everything, but we're talking about Google today. So it's just, you can just create ways to make sure learners have access. Now, I stuck this in here. Again, I talked about Bloom's taxonomy. I like to also tell my learners about this here, because this is the way you encourage them to see that learning really, really, really takes place after they learn something and go teach somebody else what they learned. Teaching what you learn is the best evidence of mastery. So I'm very explicit with that. I said, if you wanna show that you've learned something every night that you leave class, go home and teach somebody something that you learned, okay? And so that the example of my student who contacted her husband all the way back home in Iran is one way of teaching. And then I had a kid who went home and taught his brother how to generate charts and graphs from Google Sheets, so that the brother went to his lower level the next day to take his teacher a chart and graph. So this is how powerful that reminding them of this is, so that they really connect with the learning. What you teach, you've learned. What you've taught, what you teach, you've learned, okay? Mastery is demonstrated through teaching, not the listening only, but a lot through teaching. Notebook LM, oh my gosh, I love this. You guys know about Notebook LM, right? All right. This is a cause that is dear to my heart, so I'm sneaking it in. Sneaking it in through Notebook LM. This entire graphic was created in Notebook LM, and all I did was I did a little, actually it's Notebook LM, and as you can see, Gemini is next to it. Because I asked Gemini to give me some information on the statistics of mental health in the country or globally. And it gave me the narrative. And then I dropped the narrative into Notebook LM and said, give me an infographic. And this is what is produced. This is a game changer, right? As teachers who have to spend time planning, if you have to spend time planning, or teachers that have to spend time planning, this is a game changer, especially if I love to go get the images and create the graphs, but not everybody enjoys that. Everybody doesn't enjoy going to get the images and putting stuff together like I did with the Google Meet rooms. So you could just use LM and it generates stuff like this. You could use it and it generates videos. So I think this is what you were asking me about. Google Vids. This one was not on my list of numbers. Google Vids. How many of you are familiar with Google Vids? Nobody? Yay, something somebody doesn't know. Oh, I'm just kidding. Google Vids, you're right for not knowing it because it's very new. It's very new. And even though it's new, they've already updated it with some other amazing things that you can do. So I'm going to, ooh, I am going to, let me see what is.
Join us all week, January 5th through 9th.
Okay, hold on. Let me give you an introduction to this. I was nervous because I was hoping it was this. All right, this was created using Google Slides and Google Vids. Okay, yes, I put all these graphics together. And with your basic Google, you can't update the slides, but with your Google Workspace now, it has the opportunity for it to auto-generate some AI improved slides. And I'll show you that in a minute. I'm working to get to the live part. So this Google Vids, what happened is I created the slides and I pulled them up into the Google application called Google Vids. All right. And then I said, create a video for me. So here's what I got.
Join us all.
One more thing, this is not my voice. This is AI voice. This is an AI narrator, okay?
All week, January 5th through 9th for the LTE Back to School Chat Marathon. Pop in between 8:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. to hear and share teaching tips and tricks with colleagues. Thank you, Ms. Brenda, for being our first pop-up guest for this term's Back to School Chat Marathon. Ms. Brenda is truly passionate about bringing innovative ideas to her pre-IET English language learners. We appreciate you, Ms. Brenda. Here is a picture of another guest from day one of the Let's Talk Back to School Chat Marathon in progress, with pop-up guest Mr. B. Mr. B is preparing for the start of class and was excited to learn that the Spark platform is now approved for use. He is proud to be 80 years old and still passionate about teaching his adult English language learners. We appreciate you, Mr. B. Thank you for your commitment.
That's it. I just pulled it up into Google Vids and said, create. And then it gave me some options for the voices of the narrators. And it gave me the script of the, because it created the script all by itself. It created the script just from looking at the slides. But then you have the option to go in and edit the script. So I went in and edited the script for what I wanted it to say. And then I chose my voice and bam, it created that. I think this is also a game changer because imagine flipping your classroom with this. Imagine your learning objective that you usually stand and state in front of the class. You put that on a Google Vid and you send it out to the students so that they can hear it before, right? So, all right, let's keep going so I can get to the live part and show you this stuff. All right, Google Sheets. All right, yes, I did this, insert image into a sheet, right? What I did, we have our own, we have an attendance system, but I wanted a little bit more. I wanted a little bit more in terms of what it looks like. I wonder if this will take, yeah, this is live. Yes, I can take you there right now. Let's go. Let's go. I wanted a little bit more of information than what I was getting from our regular attendance system. So I created this in Google Sheet. And once I create one, because I know some people are like, whoa, that's a lot of work. Once you create it once, it's just recycle, rinse and repeat. You just copy, erase everything, copy. And so I've been using this now for quite some time because like I said, I have multiple levels of students in my class, and this helps me to monitor their attendance so that I can know who to reach out to when I need to reach out to them and keep my own personal notes. So I call it it used to be called SAM, the Student Activity Monitor. However, when I first created it, my ex was Sam, so that posed a problem. So I renamed it to Cam. Class activity monitor. Okay. Are they recording this, aren't they? All right. So I have a copy of my matrix here for quick access. And then I have a copy here of all kinds of stuff. If I hand them out books, I want to give them books, and I can hide it. I'm going to hide some of this since this thing is being recorded, and I don't want some of these things to show. But I keep track of everybody, their test scores, their levels, the last time they were in Burlington, everything right here. Right like that. See how easy I could block that out. So I know up top how many level 3s, how many level 4s, how many level 5s, how many level 6. I have it set up so that if my percentages goes below 50%, it stays in red to signal me that, hey, only under 50% of your level 4 students were present this week. Check on them, that kind of thing, right? Now, I have attendance reports from my regular school attendance. However, it doesn't break it down for me so that I can see the individual students, so I can know in groups, that is, so that I can know who to check on. So I keep track of it like this. And I also keep track of the bright green means I heard from them and I know why they were absent. The orange means I need to figure out where they are because they didn't notify me, because one of my rules is notify me if you're not coming to class. So you can see, for me, I need this visual because I'm that person that needs this helicopter visual colors to show me, hey, alert, reach out to these students, or hey. And then I also feel like I need this because if my administrator says to me, hey, what's going on? I have an answer for her, right? As a result of completing this, and all I have to do is put the 5 and the 4 in. Each time I put the 5 or the 4 in here, it feeds to a perfect attendance report. I'm just showing you all the stuff that Google can do, right? Or Google Sheets. It feeds into a perfect attendance report for me. So that now, each week, when I do my perfect attendance achievement report, I just come here and grab that information because it's right there at my fingertips. Just by filling in the attendance, it feeds into that information. Does that make sense? You guys see that? How many of you celebrate perfect attendance? All right, good. Yes. So we celebrate perfect attendance. So here's the thing. This that you're seeing is my version. The students also get to see their own version. So that there are times they're coming to me and being like, teacher, I was here every day last week. Why am I not green? Why am I not green? And I love it because I do want them to come and advocate for themselves. That's something I teach, self-advocacy. So they're able to come back and say, I was here, teacher. I should have perfect attendance. And then I have to go check and come back and tell them, no, remember you notified me. Here's your notification. No, you don't have perfect attendance. Sorry. Okay? So all of this created in the back end makes my life easier, even though it may look like a lot of work. Once I created it once, my life became easier because once I click on attendance, that's it, right? Also, they have a survey that they do. They have a survey that they complete. And from completing the survey, this is the information that I get from them completing the survey. Where they're from, what career pathway they want, personality types, because we do a personality types survey as well. So all of this information is at my fingertips in terms of what jobs. And as you can see here, I can tell immediately what the majority of my students are interested in terms of careers, which then helps me in planning for guest speakers, topics that I'm gonna make sure I'm interjecting, all of that kind of stuff. In addition to this, I use this chart to teach my students how to do the same thing. So when I mentioned about the brother earlier on who taught his brother who was in a lower level, this was what he went home and taught his brother, how to take information and put it in a spreadsheet and create charts and graphs. The information that they took was from the attendance and the usage report that they used to create their own charts and graphs. So whatever I'm doing here, I'm showing it to them, because remember, my goal is for them to have that digital literacy skill so that when they go into a job interview, they can say, hey, I'm familiar with Google Sheets. Hey, I can do Google Slides. I can do Google Sites. I can do Google Forms. So as I'm doing it and modeling it and showing them my outcomes, I'm showing them that, yes, you can. I'm not just a sayer, I'm a doer as well. And so they're also doing the activity. There's other things that they get, like their weekly hours and their study groups that they get in Google Sheets. And I'm going to show you now, I'm going to go to Google Classroom because this is the reason why they love Google Classroom. So let's go. Ooh. Well, I have a shortcut here on my little thing. Let's go over here. Why don't I just use the 9 dots button and practice what I preach? 9 dots button, the waffle. All right, so as I said, I have a ton of Google Classroom, but here's my most recent. This is my class. So once they created, I'm going to show you some of the stuff they created. Once they created their sheets and their charts, they wrote a report inside Google Classroom. So this is one example where he put his percentages in and he created his chart. But not only did he need to do that, he then needed to upload. And I teach them the word upload. I said, upload that into Google Classroom. And I want you to give a summary of what it's about. After you're finished uploading your work into Google Classroom, go and write a comment on your classmates' work. Do you see all of the different levels of critical thinking that I'm demanding from them? But they're enjoying it because they're like, whoa, you could create a chart. Because you should see, it's really awesome to watch them because they feel so good when they see that chart pop up. And when I say, okay, make it a donut chart. All right, make it a bar graph. And they're so excited to do it. So this is an example of how we use Google Classroom and how they're able to come in and then write their own summary, but then go ahead and comment on somebody else's work. Okay, that's that example of that. Now, the other reason why they love Google Classroom, I'm going to go under classwork. Every single term, again, once I create something, I just recycle it for the next term, okay? I recycle it for the next term and use it again. Even the Google Classroom, I just clone and use it again. And I keep what I want for that term, delete what I don't want. So it's not like I'm recreating things all the time. I'm recycling, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So as a best practice, I always have this post at the top of my Google Classrooms. And it's instructions on the key resources that they will use for that term, okay? And so you can see their Google Meet room right there. If they can't come to class in person, they're able to join me via Google Meet. If we're gonna do the breakout rooms, here's another use of the breakout rooms. So I have people in class, right? They belong to special groups based on their next assigned test from CASAS, for example. There's a group over here, there's a group over there, there's a group over there, group over there. This group, there may be somebody online that's a part of that group. I need to find a way to bring that person in to this group, even though they're online, so that we're having a hybrid small group. How do I do it? The same continent rooms that I showed you earlier on. So one person in the group grabs a Chromebook, logs into America, tells the person online to come to America, and there it is, they're working in their small group. Another group over there, another group over there may be in Europe. If somebody online belongs to their group, tell the person to come to Europe, they're working in their likability group. You see that? So that's why in the Google Classroom, you see small group activities, breakout rooms, because they know that's where they go if one of their colleagues is attending virtually while the rest of them are on site. Does that make sense? Make sense? Okay, good. And then this one is the main meeting room. So they may start in the main meeting room, but once we break out to small groups, study groups, or whatever projects they're doing, they go to the small group breakout room, which was that picture I showed you earlier with the continents. And I also have one with oceans. All right. Okay, so the main thing that they go to, whether they're in class or at home, is this post right here. Because going to this post right here, they're going to click on what's called the dashboard. We call it the dashboard, okay? All right, here we go. This was created using Google Slides. As you can see, I love to have fun with Google Slides. It's a Google slide. I just added colors to change the background, and then I inserted shapes and gave each shape a name of my students. Why? Because each time they come into their dashboard, they are able to click on their names and go into a Google Drive that's designated to them. Remember, I said I'm a paperless classroom. So if there's a report, it's in your eFolio. Plus, I'm introducing that word, ePortfolio, because again, once they go to work, that's something they're going to hear, right? So if you click on your name, it's going to take you into a Google Drive, and it's going to take you into your ePortfolio where all of your work is housed. When I ask them to do work, they know, upload, please, to your eFolio. Upload it to your eFolio. That way I can access it. No one student can access another student's eFolio. It's secured to just that one student. Okay? So there are times when a student will go in and say, teacher, I don't have this. See, be careful what you create because you want them to use it, because when they come to me and tell me I don't have this, I'm like, yes, they went in. They used it, right? But they get used to expecting this because they know they can go to their eFolio. They have study guides in there. When they participated in the literacy competition, their essays are in there. Their CASAS reports are in there. Whatever it is that pertains to them is in their eFolio. In fact, some of their videos that they were preparing for me for this session are in their eFolios. So they just have to click and go to their name. The other things that are on here, as you can see, is our website project. The website project is there. QR codes and links to the iLearn website that I mentioned is there. The calendar, our calendar is there. Our Google Meet link is also there. A help button that if they need help from me, they can just click it and it takes to a Gmail. It takes them to Gmail so they can email me. World of Words, I will talk to you about in a minute. But in addition to that, remember how I mentioned that they can see perfect attendance as well? Because I have my Google Sheets with perfect attendance, and they can have their version, so they're checking that. They have the autonomy to check this. Why do I do this? Why am I creating these things for them why am I creating these systems for them to be able to have access to? I'm doing this because I want to teach them autonomy. I want them to be proactive. I don't want them, I tell them when you're on your job, you need to try something before you tell somebody you can't do it. I want you to get into the habit of going and trying to access, trying to do before you go to your boss and say, I don't know how to do this, right? So I have tried to create systems for them to know that if it's on a Sunday, they can click here. If it's on a Saturday, they can click here. They don't really need me to see what they need to do. You monitor how many hours you're doing on Burlington and see how many more you need, right? There's study groups, and then World of Words. Now, if I was able to play some more of the videos or that young lady videos, you would hear where they say, one of my favorite things is World of Words. All right, so let me show you that. This is it. What do you think I used to create this? Slides. I'm just so in love with slides, right? I used slides to create this, and I used image. I found a wow from the Google Images library, and the shapes are from also the Google Slides. And of course, the background is from Google Slides. You just click on background and you select your color. What this is a, let me just show you, vocabulary review. So whatever vocabulary we learn, I think, yeah, this was 2 weeks worth of vocabulary. Whatever vocabulary we learn, they have access to this list that they get to practice over the weekend. And then it's typically on Wednesdays that we have WOW, World of Word Wednesdays. And what they get to see is not this. What they see is this scrambled. So I added a level of difficulty to it. So they study it normally, and then I come back with it scrambled. And then they have to look and figure out, and we have so much fun with it. Can you see that? Can you see that technically? Scrambled business, scrambled 17 career clusters. These are all words that we used in class. What I found is that sometimes the learners don't realize how much they do in class. So that when they see this, they realize, oh my goodness, we did all of this? Yes, we did. We talked about every single thing on this slide in the last 2 weeks. Go ahead. And move it into bid. Mm-hmm. You want to? Yes. All right, let me show you that. Because this is like your second time asking that. So let me show you before we run out of time. No, I love it because I'm excited. I'm in the zone. I'm in the non-coffee zone. So you're going, please. All right, so let me show you how I do that. Let's get out of here. Thank you for asking. All right, but the idea here is this is why they will say I like class. Oh, just show you this before I leave. This is why they'll say I like classroom because all of their work is in here. Everything is in here. So that if they miss class, they can come in. It's just like if you use Canvas, you put all the work in there. The reality is I use Google Classroom because Canvas is a little advanced. We don't use it, but I want them to get used to the concept and the idea of at some point, if you're going to go on to college, you're going to need to know how to navigate these systems. You're going to need to know how to comment on your classmates' work, that kind of thing. So they say they love this as well. And all of my activities are called projects. No matter what it is, I call it a project. So they know what to do. All right, so let's do a Google vid. Let's see. Any other questions while I'm navigating to that? And online, how's it going online? Are there any questions? Any questions online? Okay. All right, so let's go to Google Vids. How do I get there again? Who can tell me? How do I get there? The waffle. All right, you just passed the post test. All right. You see it right there? Google Vids. And I have done this on my personal Google account, so I can attest to you that you can do it on your personal Google account. Okay, so here you have several options. All right, you can convert slides. You can start with a blank vid, but let's do convert slides since that's something that you're asking about, okay? I'm going to click on that. When you click on convert slides, it goes into your library of slides. So for you to select what slide you want to turn into a video. So I am going to go with this that we're doing right now, because once I select that, it gives me the options to further select which slides I want to bring in. So let's see, because I have a lot of slides, but I don't want all of them. So I am going to clear because it automatically selects all of my slides. And I'm going to tell it to bring in number 2, number 6 with blooms, number 7. What else? Let's go with 9. Let's stop there just to make it happen quickly. All right, so I'm going to import that. Maybe I should have chosen less. All right, so waffle, vids. You get the opportunity to do import slides. There it is.
Welcome to our video session on Google Workspace in action, boosting
That's it.
language, confidence, and collaboration. I'm Pamela Jo Wilson, and I'm excited to share how Google tools can enhance learning. We will be applying various levels of Bloom's taxonomy.
Let's go. All right, so here over on the right-hand side, there are some options right here. And it's going to be voiceover. Voiceover. All right, so. And you can do whatever you, this is the script right here. I can literally change it to say whatever I want it to say. And also, see where down the bottom here where it says voiceover, right now they're using the narrator as the voice. So you can actually change that. And you have all of these, and you can play them just to hear
The
them.
voice you select makes a difference in how viewers will respond to your video. It should
The voice you select makes a difference in how viewers will respond to your video. It should fit your video.
The voice you select makes a difference in how viewers will respond to your video. It should fit your video's purpose.
The voice you select makes a difference in how viewers will respond to your video. It should fit
get
your
the
video's
idea.
purpose and style.
What should we try? Whatever you want. You got it. You got it. Uh-huh. That's a good question. I have not noted that. I haven't taken notice to know because I think I don't know is my straight answer because I've always been curious as to how it just came up with the narration and the stuff. So I'm going to take a look next time. I thought it was just inferring from the images, but great question. Great question. But yes, you can change that. So that's a game changer. Go ahead. Right. Absolutely. 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 See, that's you can't go wrong with AI. Absolutely. But I am that person who likes to just try and touch and I get excited every time something I discover something. So I like the trial and error. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. 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 And if you don't want you, it has the option for you to include an avatar. In the same way you can include a voice, you can add an avatar. See down here where it shows you images of who you want to be
the
the
voice you
avatar?
select.
You can choose one of these
The
guys
voice you
and they'll
select
show
makes a
up
difference
as the
in how-
person. They'll show up as a person that's narrating. Yes, yes, because I've always wanted to do stuff like that, but I don't like my voice. I feel so sorry for you that you have to be listening to me because I know my voice is squeaky. I do. I have to work on it because I don't like hearing myself. But yes, Oh, yes. Awesome. Awesome. But for some of you who may have brilliant ideas and you don't want to use your voice, this is it right here. You can put an avatar on there, put your script, whatever it is you want to do. There's so many other options on here. That's why my goal for this session was to ignite curiosity. I didn't expect to teach you everything, but I want you to be so curious that as soon as you leave here, you're in your computer going tap, 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 tap. That was really my goal for this session. All right, are we good? We're good with Google Vid. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. That's okay. All right. So for me, I like his idea about the Gemini. There's so much. You have YouTube videos. It is so easy. And listen, what I always tell people, because you're in the position of many of our students. I've had students come in my classroom that never used a computer in their life and was afraid to come in because they know my classroom is tech-based, right? Next thing I know, he bought a computer and he's showing other students how to do stuff. So don't everybody starts where you are. The main thing that you can have is curiosity and lack of fear. You can't break it. You can't break it. Just go in and start tapping. But if you're the person that likes steps, it has built-in help. Gemini, Google, YouTube videos, they're out there a dime a dozen if you need help, right? It's easy. Believe me, you got this. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Everything, how to do a classroom, how to do forms, how to do fits. As soon as Google hits something new, there's a video out there. And Google has steps by steps on their site as well. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. 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 Yeah. You have to do what works for you because it depends on your learning style. A video, if a video is what goes well for you, if reading, it's just like with our learners, we have to do multiple access points. Find what works for you. But the main thing is don't be afraid to try. Because if you're afraid to try, nothing's gonna work. But if you're not afraid to say, I got this, I'm gonna try it. What have I got to lose? You got it. You got it. Next time you'll be presenting this session. All right, so that's Google Vids. Now, I didn't get to show, I'm going to show you Notebook LM because my goodness, oh, my goodness. So you have, again, how do I access Notebook LM? I'm going to go to the waffle, right? Let me get out of here and get back over here. And I'm going to the waffle. And this is how Notebook LM looks. It looks like that little house with that kind of stuff right there. Is that what it looks like? I have no words to describe it yet. So when you enter Notebook LM, and I have quite a few things that I've created in here because as a teacher, these things are such time savers. And if you mash this with Gemini, which is what I do, because I'll do my research in Gemini, then just copy the narrative and drop it inside Notebook LM, and then generate all kinds of stuff. But I'm going to go back to my Google Classroom, and I'm just going to grab something for the heck of it to see if it will. As a matter of fact, you can, all right, let's do this instead because I want to show you how it integrates with the other apps that are a part of Google. So if I'm going to create new, if I create new, I have the option to upload files, get a YouTube video, or drive. You know what? For your sake, I'm changed my mind. I'm gonna do a YouTube video. Let's search for a YouTube video. Actually, I have to go get it. Let's get a YouTube video on how to use Google Vids. All right, here's one, beginner's guide. See that? Beginner's guide on how to use Google Vids.
To get started, we're just going to go to vids.
I'm gonna grab the, ooh, where's my share button to get the link? Oh, I don't see this one. Share, does anybody see share? Share. Do you see it, bottom left? Huh? Yeah, but I don't, no, is that share? Did they move it? Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's not YouTube? Oh yes, it says YouTube right here. Oh, so let's go to YouTube. Gotcha. Thank you. It takes a village. An entire village.
Vids.
There we go.
New.
Share.
That's going to open a new Google Vids project. Now, the first thing we see is this.
And I'm going to go back over here to Notebook LM. I'm going to paste the link. I'm going to go insert. So now it has, see over here on the left, where it has the Google video link listed right there. You can add as many resources as you want to reference. So you can keep going and add a PDF, add whatever you want to reference until you have a list of docs there. Then you have the choice to click which ones you want to use. In the interest of time, we're going to just go with the video. But what I want you to see is how it already has a narrative in the center about the video. You see that? And now, but what I love is the infographic and the video overview. You have the option to create all of these different things from that resource or whatever resource you choose. So let's try the infographic first, and please work. All right. And they come in and they bring in some new stuff because I have not seen this before, but I'm going to choose that and do generate. So it's working on an infographics that's going to give us steps on how to do Google Vids based on the YouTube video. I can also at the same time ask it to generate a video overview so that it can explain. I'm going to do classics, generate. So it's also generating another video overview of the video. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, you have to double check, but you can prompt it to edit, or you can take that graphic and put it into Gemini and make additional edits to it. So yes, you're correct. Because the infographic that I showed you earlier on with the mental health, I had to kind of tape. I did some edits to that. So what she said. All right, so it's generating the video right now. All of this stuff is just like Google Translate, because we know Google Translate is an invaluable tool to our learners, but in the end, it makes mistakes. So with everything, AI, everything, you have to review and you have to decide whether it's good enough for you. So it's generating. May take a while. We don't have a while. We don't have a while for you to take. Let me go to my drive and show you an example of what it generated, just so you can see it. I'm going to go back to my classroom because it's in my Google Classroom under classwork, under our first lesson, occupations and locations, job responsibilities. I think it's occupations and locations. Here we go. I wanted to give them, here's an infographic of the 17 career class clusters that I generated for my Intro to Business IET students. So it generated this infographic from Notebook LM for me based on information that I got from Gemini. And it also, this is what I'm trying to do right now, a video. So it generated a video for me, which is an overview of business management and admin.
Hey there, ready to take a little tour into the world of business management and administration? You know, if you've ever found yourself wondering what it actually takes to lead a team or, run a whole company, then you are in the perfect spot.
Okay,
I
let's
like
dive right
that you
into
can
this.
change the
This whole
speed if you're
field,
using it
it's
in your
so much more than
classroom.
just spreadsheets and suits. It's this super dynamic area that's all about leadership, smart strategy.
So that just gives you an idea of what it can do in terms of the videos that it can generate. I'm going to go back to see if it, okay, here's the video from the, that it generated. Okay, this is not a video. That's a workflow. Yeah, video creation workflow. It's almost like it's telling me what it's doing, but that's not what I asked for. Oh, that's what I asked for, video overview. All right, so you guys got an idea. Thank you so much. You got an idea of what it is that's available to you. I didn't even touch there's so much more that I could go on with. There's just not enough time. But you have my information on the slide. Let me go back to the slide. You have my information here. Yeah, on this I had to do a correction on this one. Let me go back and get the information. Ah, there I am. I prefer that one. That's my information. If you have any questions at all, if you want to get on a Zoom, a regular Zoom, and go over anything, I would be happy to do that. Thank you so much for being here. And I do hope that you did walk away with something that you're saying, woo, I'm going to try that right away. And that your curiosity is piqued. Thank you. Thank you so much. It was my pleasure. It was my pleasure. And thank you, everyone online. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the conference, guys. Thank you.